Hello and welcome. My name is Ashley and this is my first video on YouTube. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm not going to go into a long speech about who I am and what I do, but I will just say that for today's video and for probably all my other videos I will make, we'll be deep diving into some questions, some confessions, some vents and some stories from Reddit. Basically all the Reddit drama that Reddit has to offer. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have some comments or your thoughts on the stories that we discuss, please feel free to put that in the comment box down below. And finally, if you enjoy the video and like to see more videos and more content that I make, please feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get notified of when I post. I will try to schedule irregular posting days once I finalize everything. But without further ado, let's jump into some stories. Ashley read it, and now so will you. Alright, coming from the Am I the Asshole subreddit, we have u/alarmedelk7101, who asks, would I be the asshole for telling my mother that I won't look after her other child for the rest of my life? So I, 21 female, have one sister, 23 female. For the sake of the story, we'll call Amy, whom I love dearly, but despite being older, has a lot less life experience than I do. She's never had a job. I've been working since I was 15. She stays inside playing video games all day. I make an effort to be social. She still lives with our parents. I moved out as soon as I could. Amy's always been mother's favourite. Our mother has narcissistic tendencies, and while Amy cradles her, I have a habit of sticking up for myself, which obviously Mother Dearest didn't like. They've always spoiled her, like how she got a PS5 the same year I went without a school laptop because I couldn't afford both. I hate that in some ways it's sort of made me resent my sister, even though it's not her fault, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Anyway, our grandmother passed away recently, and my mother decided that I was to move in her house and pay the rates and the bills while they sell theirs and go live the van lifestyle for a while. The story would be 10 times longer if I got into all that, so I won't. And that my sister would come live with me when they're ready to go. The issue isn't her living there. I do love Amy, and we've gotten along as adults. The issue is they're building her a 10 grand art studio in the yard. They let her pick the room in the house she wanted, along with everything else of our grandmother's. It didn't matter how much it meant to me. If she wanted it, she got it. All because they want her to be happy. Except I'm paying the bills and the rates and getting nothing but what she lets me have. There's also the fact that I don't want to live in this town forever or take care of my sister forever. I need to be able to have my own life, but our parents expect me to just take care of their kid because they don't want to anymore. And she can't take care of herself because she's never bothered to get a job or go to university. I understand that my parents want their own lives too, but they're the ones who chose to have kids, not me. In my eyes, if you choose to be a parent, it's a lifelong commitment. Even if the kids are adults, sometimes things happen and you have to be prepared to look after them. Or at the very least, they should be telling Amy she has to look after herself. I brought up the finance issue and they just said they'd put a trust in Amy's name to help with the house, which is fine I guess, but they're still just spoiling her and not urging her to do something with her life. Amy makes little money through art commissions, but not enough to live, and has some mental health issues that affect things. But I do too, and I'm still trying to figure life out. I just don't know what to do, Reddit. Would I be the asshole for telling my mother I won't take care of my sister forever? OP also has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. They say, I feel like I might be the asshole because that's my sister and I should be allowing my parents to go off and do whatever they want to do. I'm sure a lot of people just do this stuff with their family and don't complain, but I just don't want to. I like living alone. I don't want to be responsible for someone, and I feel that might make me an asshole. Okay, so here's my take on this. First off, not the asshole. Not even close. For me, OP already is being incredibly generous. They are agreeing to live in that house. They're agreeing to cover the bills. I just want to say loud and clear for the people in the back, for the parents, for the siblings, for the children, for the future parents. Children are not substitute parents. I see this trope and I see this trend a lot on Reddit where I see the parentification of children where commonly, which is ironic in the situation, the firstborn child is used to parent the rest of the children while the parents then go off to have this lifestyle that they want. But OP didn't make Amy. her parents did. So if they've raised her to be dependent, then they need to be the ones who are staying present to support her, or at least encourage her to be independent. Quite frankly, this isn't about whether OP, to me, loves Amy or not. It's simply about boundaries. It's about the fact that OP is being placed in a situation where they're expected to sacrifice their freedom, their career options, and their location just to accommodate someone who, let's be honest, hasn't been encouraged at all to grow. I'm not going to ignore this other trope I don't like here, which is the golden child versus scapegoat dynamic. OP didn't even get to grow up fairly already. Now they're spilling that treatment into adulthood. OP is trying to build their life. She's not trying to build her sister's life. It's sort of a parasitic relationship they're building here, where they're sort of expecting OP to pause and halt their life and their existence to simply live for Amy. Amy might think this is beneficial to her. In the long term, it's not. OP is not always going to be there. So Amy needs to experience life, the ups, the downs, the failures and the successes. As much as I feel the parents may want to protect Amy, Amy can't be sheltered because that will stunt her growth and her chance to be an adult. She's 23. She can take risks. She can try and she can fail. I mean, if she figures out by herself that her art commissions aren't enough to survive off and she's not able to run to the bank of mom and daddy, she will learn to simply just have a side hustle. Something to keep her passion and hobby intact, but also put food on the table. So to me, OP is definitely 100% not the asshole. So just going to read some comments to see what other people think. We have MCA 2021 who says, parents aren't responsible for their kids through life, just into adulthood. However, in this case, your parents crippled your sister to the point that she's a useless adult. Who will do the cooking? Who will do the cleaning and the laundry? Who will take care of the yard work? Does your sister pick up after herself? Will she leave her garbage? Will she leave her used kitchenware around the house or in the sink? Bottom line, OP, do you want to be a maid or a caretaker to your sister? What happens when you don't give in to her? Calls from parents raging at you. Life's too short, OP. It may seem like it sucks how you weren't treated well, but now you're a full functioning adult, so not the asshole. I second this and I 100% agree. Like I said, they've just made her so dependent on parents and now they're about to make her dependent on OP as well. As much as I'm telling OP she's not the asshole, I think we also forget the fact that Amy is sort of suffering from parents shielding her, and that's where we need to find the balance here because she's 23. She has no life experience. She needs to grow. She needs to experience paying bills and the consequences of not meeting those bills on her own. Beckle Mankind says, you would not be the asshole. You're still in their vortex, or you wouldn't even be writing this post. Go live your life. Stop planning around your grandmother's house before you get sucked in. You're more likely going to have to live your town completely for now, or they will pull you back. Force your parents to make different plans by not being available for what they want. Just say no. No. It may be tempting to get the house to live in, but it will cost you your independence. This doesn't mean you and your sister won't have an ongoing relationship, but explain to her that you need to do your own thing for a while and that you can't stay there. Obviously, your parents have a lot of sway with you, which is why you won't win any discussion with them. You're an adult with your own plans, and you are not required to look after your sister or live where your parents want you to live. You could say, I'm sorry, mom and dad, but you're going to need to figure this out without me. I'm out of here. Go live your best life, OP. Again, another comment that I really agree with. I feel so bad for OP, honestly, because they have this in the back of their head somehow that they're wrong for wanting to put themselves first. You know, it's quite awful, but they're still young, so they have enough time to make decisions that they won't regret later on in life. So I agree, OP should probably look at moving a bit further so that she's not within reach of her parents for them to come and just dump their problems on her. Whoopsie, my bad says, you would not be the asshole. It sounds like you could lose more than your independence. Are you going to be on the hook for bills while she has the protection of a trust to help? Amy is getting an art studio and first pick of everything. So what are your parents financially, space-wise giving you? Who will have to pay for repairs on your grandmother's house? What happens when you and your roommate Amy disagree in that house? Who has control to disperse that trust? What happens when your parents are essentially homeless and the van life is too much? Average van life is 2 years. Then where are they going to go and how much of their nest egg is left? to your grandmother's house? Whose name will be on that deed? Will you be sent to live in the van in the driveway because you are financially tied to a house that becomes an emotional albatross? What happens if your parents need care in their advanced years and Amy nopes out to explore her art? You've been marginalized to family caretaker, maid, and wallet. You are 21 and you deserve to make an adult life for yourself that brings you joy. You do not want to look around at 50 and realize you are still putting your life on hold because you are the family everything without a voice. Get a home inspection so you will know what repairs that need to be made and approximate cost. Get outside advice on your financial responsibility to the house before you fully agree. Before you move in with Amy, there should be no guesses about anything. Make fully informed decisions on what you are doing that benefit you only, because no one else is advocating for you. If you have to walk, then walk, and don't look back out of guilt. Again, that is another solid advice. I wouldn't add anything else to that. Honestly, that is sound advice. Not just about the emotional aspect, but we're talking about legal implications, financial implications, and just limiting OP's liability here. And that's solid advice. Anyway, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Do you see a middle ground that I'm not seeing and the rest of the comment section aren't seeing? I would like to know your thoughts. Put them in the comment box down below. I'm just going to sip from my tea and then we'll move on to the next story. Up next on the r/AITAH subreddit, we have Imaginary Stop 6423, who asks, am I the asshole for embarrassing my stepmom at dinner after she tried to teach me a lesson about my real mom? Trigger warning, this story does involve talks of a deceased parent. I, 18 female, live with my dad and my stepmom, 43 female. My mom passed away when I was 10 and it's still a sensitive subject for me. My stepmom came into the picture a couple of years later, and while we're civil, we're definitely not close. She's always had this weird vibe, like she's trying to compete with my mom even though my mom isn't here. She gets snippy when I talk about her or wear anything that belonged to her, like my mom's old necklace I wear basically every day. Anyway, a few nights ago, we were out for dinner with my dad, stepmom, and her parents. Her mom asked about the necklace and I said, it was my mom's. She gave it to me before she passed. I wear it every day. Stepmom immediately cut in with, well, technically, I'm your mom now. I've done more mothering in the last 8 years than she did in 10. I swear the whole table went silent. I just laughed and said, if you think being a mom is about trying to erase the actual one, then yeah, you've been amazing. She looked like she'd been slapped. Her mom gasped. My dad told me to apologize, but I refused. I said I was tired of her acting like my mom never existed and I wasn't going to play along anymore. Now my stepmom is barely speaking to me and my dad says I need to be the bigger person because she's just trying to connect. But to me, that didn't feel like connection. That felt like erasure. So am I the asshole for calling her out in front of everyone? Now, for me, OP is not the asshole. What their stepmom said was out of line and it was emotionally manipulative. OP is allowed to cherish her mother's memory. OP is allowed to wear her necklace. OP is allowed to miss her. A passing of a parent doesn't erase the very real and the very emotional relationship that you've had with them. To me, it seems as though the stepmom was trying to teach OP a lesson at that dinner table. That doesn't seem like they were trying to bond or connect with OP like her dad says. It was a power move. The stepmom wanted to control the narrative, and OP instead stood up for themselves when all the adults around OP failed to do so. And you know what? I say good for OP for doing that. And quite frankly, OP's dad is enabling the stepmom's behavior. OP shouldn't be made to feel guilty or feel wrong. And I don't see why OP's dad isn't having a discussion with the stepmom about boundaries. Buttered Crumpet 09 says, she isn't trying to build a bond. Building a bond would have been getting to know you and creating something unique between the two of you. That would have taken time, work, and a whole lot of understanding. But your stepmom doesn't want to do that. What she is trying to do is take a shortcut. She wants to take the bond you had with your mom, claim it as her own, and pretend that your mom was never there, all whilst expecting you to transfer all the feeling you had for your mom to her. She doesn't want to earn your love, respect, and all the rest. She wants to demand it. Honestly, your dad is selfish. He got a replacement wife and seems to think you got a replacement mother, but it doesn't work that way. Would he like to be deemed as easily replaceable as he and his wife think your mom is? He cares more about appeasing his wife than he does about defending his own child and showing some respect to the memory of the mother of his child. If he respects your mom's memory, he should be stepping the hell up and making his wife back off and stop trying to replace her. I agree with that. And it's crazy that from a little snippet, we can tell a lot of what's going on in OP's life. It seems that dad just wanted to replace mum. And now that there's a stepmom in the picture, she wants all that love. She wants all the affection. She has this expectation of how her relationship with OP should be. And considering OP isn't letting that happen, I think stepmom is getting frustrated. When in reality, she can't replace OP's mom. Quite frankly, she should be focusing on creating a relationship, creating a dynamic between her and OP, other than trying to demolish or tarnish the one she feels is in the way, obstructing her from having a connection with OP. Competitive Camel 410 says, "You were the bigger person. She was acting like a jealous 7-year-old who is competing against your mother. You were acting like an adult and called her out on her bad behavior. And now again, she's acting like a 7-year-old who can't admit that they were wrong and wants it to be your fault. So, you can continue to be the bigger person and continue to hold your ground. You can tell your father that it was an insult to your dead wife's memory, and the fact that he tolerated it shows immense disrespect to her memory. You can tell him that there is no competition. As soon as she insulted your mom the very first time, she lost any chance of bonding with you. Be very firm and calm when you talk to him next so he doesn't think, oh, she's just being emotional. Nope, you are calm, you are direct. And you don't insult, but you will point out the behavior. You can say, I will be the bigger person, I will act as an adult in the situation, and as the adult, I will continue to name the behavior I see. And my real mother never treated any child the way stepmom has treated me. Again, that is perfect. I think the discussion that needs to be had with OP's dad. OP's dad wants peace to reign, but at the expense of OP's mental, emotional health. It's quite damning to see the parent who is alive willing to let the other parent's memory and legacy fade just so they can keep the peace. So I do agree that OP needs to discuss this with dad and sort of get him to see that if it were him who passed, how would he feel about mom replacing him, and agreeing that his memory should be forgotten or replaced so that the new parent can feel happy and feel like they have a place in OP's heart. Puzzled Safe 4801 says, sadly, I would tell you to stop wearing the necklace. As other commenters have said, secure everything that was your mom's. That means getting it out of the house and to a safe place immediately, and that especially includes the necklace. Regarding your dad, how dare he? How dare he allow his wife to attempt to erase your mother from your life and story? And that's exactly what he's doing when he passively sits by when his wife says things like this. That's exactly what he's doing when he actively tells you to apologize or be the bigger person. By the way, why does he expect a teenager whose mother died to be the bigger person versus a grown-ass adult who married a widower with a motherless child? Sadly, I think you've got to make plans to move out and put some space between you and your dad for right now. That doesn't mean forever or long term, but sometimes we need a break from chaos and drama. However, right now, as in today, get all your mom's things out of the house and to a safe spot. Could you store the things at one of your mom's relatives or at a friend's? Your dad's wife will try to destroy your mom's necklace in some way. Again, I think going 3 for 3, solid advice here as well, where it's going to progressively get worse. I think stepmom is going to progressively get more frustrated with how much pushback she gets from OP. I think it will get to a point where she will completely try to erase memories of OP's mom, and that will include things like pictures, that will include jewelry, that will include anything that belonged to OP's mom. For her to already be making such a bold statement about being a better mom than OP's mom was, it is going to get to a point where she will just think the only way to get OP to see her as the better mom is to completely make OP forget her mom ever existed. It never plays out well, but for some reason, they always think that that is the best choice. So I do agree that OP should work on securing all her mom's jewelry, all her assets, anything about her mom that she wants to preserve. They should go into a safe space. OP hasn't posted an update, and their initial post was made 4 months ago. There are some comments that OP makes on their post sort of agreeing with the comment section for how out of line stepmom was, but there's no update on the storyline of what's happened since then. So I will leave it with you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment below. In the meantime, I'm going to sip from my tea and then we'll move to the next story. This next one comes from the r/AITAH subreddit, posted by Quietly6685. They ask, am I the asshole for forcing my husband to take in his estranged daughter despite his wishes? Trigger warning, this does involve talks of child abuse. So, my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight, and he called me a few things, including asshole. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we are going in circles. Long story long, my husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, a lot of fighting and just emotional abuse. So they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not taking more care to not get her pregnant because they were young and immature and stupid. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter. Her mother would just keep the kid from him and made it clear that she did not want him in their life. He paid child support the whole way through, but it has been an uphill for our entire relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family. So I have seen a bit from the sideline. When our first child was born, his ex went for more child support because, quote, if he can afford a new kid, he can afford to pay up. She's always been super nasty in any conversation they might have, and she taught their daughter the same thing. He has tried to at least get a phone call for Christmas, and last year his daughter said some really awful things on that call, calling him a deadbeat and other awful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she's also reaching an age where he can't just say that she doesn't know what she's saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want him to try, so he's resigned to do that. A few days ago, he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told a teacher that she was being essayed at home. CPS showed up and her mother split, disappearing. They want her to come live with us. My husband wants to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate his guts. We have younger children and honestly, no experience dealing with a trauma like that. He believes she'd be better off with a foster family who know what they're dealing with. I told him that there is no way this kid got abused, abandoned, and then rejected from the only family she has. We are taking her in and we will figure out the rest. That poor kid needs some stability and not getting tossed around in the system. Currently, we are not in agreement, and I know that he has the last word since I'm just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is a huge red flag and that he needs to step up to be a father for her too? OP does have some edit as well as an update. So OP's edit says, okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I'll try to clear up a few things. 1. I'm aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. 2. Neither of us have experience with the foster system, so we're really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who has been able to elaborate a bit more on this. 3. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he's been able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget and not be home or say it wasn't the date they agreed on and stuff like that. Maybe he could have gone through court, but he just gave up really. Hindsight is 2020, but it doesn't change the fact of the now, unfortunately. So, from my opinion, I will say there is elements of parental alienation here. I'm happy to see OP acknowledge that dad could have fought harder to get access to the child, but it is clear that the child's mother has been feeding her some negative things in her mind, and also even though she was being fed those negative things, it doesn't help to her that OP's husband is visibly not trying to reach out to her. I can understand her feeling a bit of resentment towards OP's husband because you see your dad having this loving family and ask yourself, why couldn't he have that with me? But that being said, I don't think it is a good option to go into foster care, but I also understand the perspective of you have this complete stranger and OP does have little children. Putting her in the family may seem like the right thing to do for the child, but she also has to consider her own children. How will they react to this newfound sibling that they never knew about? Additionally, how will she mix with the new children? Will she have resentment towards her younger siblings? I think there needs to be involvement of experts and professionals in the field of child psychology. There needs to be discussions had with therapists, not only for the child's well-being, but also for the younger children to help them understand this new change in their family's dynamic. To me, there also needs to be some therapy going on for OP's husband and the child. This is going to be a change from what the child is used to, and naturally, I cannot even imagine how scared that child is. If they were to be sent to foster care, where the one time they needed OP's husband to step up, he failed to do so. So I do think there needs to be therapy, but OP is not the asshole in the situation at all. Human Jacket 8971 says, "What you are trying to do is admirable, but will likely blow up your family. You cannot even imagine the damage that has been done to this child. The stress will be so hard on your entire family, and your children don't deserve that any more than the daughter deserved what was done to her. There is another option. Foster care placement with frequent visits. She can start therapy and have time to get to know you and your family. Your family can start therapy and learn ways to handle her and help her. It may work out or it may not, but you'll have tried while balancing your children and giving your husband time to adjust. You are not abandoning her this way." I think this is really good advice. Again, it's not just them trying to handle the situation, but involving experts who know how to handle the nature of what's going on here. OP does give us a mini update. We sat down to talk about why the discussion had gone off the rails. Not touching the subject yet, but just why we ended up in a screaming match. He told me that he was completely overwhelmed by this and was in a panic. According to him, the CPS person had made it sound like he could take her in, or she would go into a system that spits out drug-addicted sex workers, as one comment colorfully put it. He feels really guilty for letting this happen to his kid. Even if she hates his guts, he feels like he should have done something to prevent this. I guess I was too focused on how bad his daughter might be off right now to see that he was hurting just as bad right now. We've agreed to talk about it again in the morning in a more calm setting and try to get more facts about what can be done. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but we have both called off work tomorrow so we can take time we need. I hope there's a positive update in the near future. OP's first update was posted 10 minutes ago. Things are pretty hectic right now, but a lot of people were kind enough to take time out of their day to offer advice and their experiences, and I want to say thank you for that. I'm not going into details. There is a lot more going on than I'm sharing here, so I can assure you that divorce is nowhere near on the table for us. We have had several tough talks in the last few days, but once we got past the worst panic, we were a lot more on the same page than we thought. My husband has agreed to take responsibility for his daughter and is looking into an emergency custody of her. We are not trying to play family as some suggested. He is going to take legal charge of her and keep her out of the system. She will not be living with us right now. We have contacted an inpatient therapy clinic that can take her in to start the healing process. My husband is taking leave from work and leasing a second car so he can be there as much as needed or possible. He knows she might never consider him her father or even family, but from now on, we will be her support system. She won't have to depend on a poor, overworked CPS contact, random legal guardians, home changing, etc. If she needs therapy, we will get it for her. If she needs legal counsel, we will get it for her. If she needs a system, we will help her navigate it. If she wants to live with the foster family, we will support that. We will make it clear that our support is not conditioned on her playing family with us. She never has to set foot in our home if she chooses not to. We know that she might never appreciate any of this, but that is okay too. We have some savings we can take from, and we're setting up a college fund for her as well. It will not make her rich, but we hope to be able to cover at least some of it when the time comes. We are starting family therapy as well to start talking to our kids about the fact that they have a sister and that dad will be gone a lot more for a while. My husband will be starting therapy as well to work on his guilt and hurt from this whole situation. OP then posted another update 7 months ago. I am not going to go into details, but kind people have reached out and offered help and advice, and I want to thank you all for that. 1. We did not ship my stepdaughter off to a mental asylum indefinitely. She was with professionals that could make an in-depth assessment of her health and outline a plan for us while starting the process. My husband was there as much as his daughter and her doctor wanted him to be. 2. Her mom showed up. There is a criminal investigation going on, and my stepdaughter has, with the help of her therapist, testified. We are so proud of her and hope this can be a stepping stone for her to move forward. 3. She lives with us now, and we are working closely with professionals about how to make it work. It is not perfect, it is not easy, it is not fun, but it's not something we would change. And I can't believe I have to say this, but yes, we asked her what she wanted all the way through this. We have not forced her to do anything. OP's final update was posted 9 days ago. Last September, I turned to Reddit after having an argument with my husband. We found ourselves in a difficult situation after it came to light that his daughter from a previous relationship had been essayed and her mom disappeared. A lot of people weighed in and reached out, and we got some very different perspectives on the whole thing. This is mostly a good update, but there are obviously a lot of bad stuff popping up along the way. I can't believe I have to spell this out, but we have spoken with my stepdaughter, we'll call her Anne, about every step of the way, what she wanted, how we could make it work. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on this. Thankfully, we were in a decent place financially, and my in-laws have been helping out as well. I guess bad news first. Mom and her boyfriend showed up eventually, and there is a trial in the works. I can't say too much, but I honestly think my husband was ready to go to jail for unaliving at several points. Anne testified on video, thankfully, so she did not have to sit through it in front of these people. My husband was or is there with her permission. Anne's therapist has alerted us and the police that he suspected that she had been drugged on some occasions based on the things that were talked about. My husband came home from that meeting and started researching how to get a firearm. No, we did not get a firearm with toddlers in the house. Unfortunately, there is no real chance of mom and boyfriend going to jail nearly as long as they deserve, which is forever in my opinion, but they will most likely get some jail time at least. Therapy is going well all in all. Anne's therapist has facilitated some sessions between Anne and my husband, which have been tough for both of them. A lot of things said. As the title says, Anne lives with us and has since she felt ready to do so after being in inpatient care for a few weeks. We cleared out the office and we got the biggest lock we could find for her door. It's symbolic mostly, but she can lock that door as much as she wants on her terms. We only ask that she keeps it fairly clean, no smoking, no drugs. She is welcome at all meals but not forced. I always make enough that she can have it later if she wants. We did not see much of her in the first months, which was pretty expected from what we were told by our family therapist. One of us is always home unless we go out all five and available. My husband got more work from home days so we can make it work. We don't force her to interact with her step-siblings, but she is mostly neutral towards them. We have implemented a no touching others without asking permission rule, and sometimes the kids slip up and forget in the heat of the moment, but she has taken it super cool so far. A few weeks back, our boy ran over to the TV while she was watching something and demanded I put on his favorite show. He's only seen it like 10,000 times. I told him no, Anne is using the TV and he has to wait his turn. Without any prompting, Anne told him it was okay, switched over and watched an episode with him. He was ecstatic and demanded another episode, which they watched before I pried him off the couch so that she could watch her thing. I thanked her and assured her that she was free to say no in the future, and she said she didn't mind really. So yeah, she's not skipping school more than other teenagers. I know she has some Snapchat streak with some of the girls in her class that they do every day, saving up for a new iPhone and stuff like that. Again, I'm not including all the details of our lives obviously. There are bad days and fights and yelling too, but I am cautiously optimistic that Anne is going to turn out alright in the end. She is still not calling my husband dad and probably never will, but that is fine. We just want her to be able to live her life the best she can. Lex Dirk Pratt 2112 says, "It sounds like you are doing all the right things. Keep at it and things will hopefully only get better. Kudos." OP then replies, "We're trying at least. I'll admit that none of us are perfect parents or guardians. A few months ago, the young ones had some stomach flu and I didn't sleep for days. I was trying to take care of these two sick kids, not feeling great myself and just wearing thin. I asked Anne to help me with something and she told me, 'You're not my mom,' or something along those lines. I honestly cannot remember the exact words. And I just snapped and told her thank God for that because her mom is a crappy person. Not my finest moment. I apologize, but I was on ice for a month or two, which is totally fair. I really do normally make an effort to not speak badly of her mom. I think OP and her husband are doing all the right things. It's also nice to know that they are giving Anne reassurance along the way that she can say no. It's lovely that they are giving Anne that reassurance that she can stay away for as long as she needs, but whenever she is ready, they are there ready to be a listening ear and also to welcome her with open arms. I think that is a lovely end to the journey. I do hope OP posts some more updates along the way, but at the same time, I do hope OP just enjoys the moment with her family. Anyway, I would love to know what you guys think about this story. For me, this is a really good one. I do enjoy a happy ending. In the meantime, I'm just going to sip from my tea and then we'll move to the next story. Coming from the r/ask Reddit subreddit, someone asked, what is the funniest real life story you can tell? A deleted user posted 11 years ago. They said, when I was 4, my parents' car trip from Edmonton to Vancouver, and being an idiot, my father declined to make reservations at any hotels. We get halfway and mum wants to stop for the night in Banff. Every room is booked except the fancy smancy Banff Springs Fairmont Hotel. Try saying that 3 times. Which is so flipping beautiful it hurts the eyes. My dad, being a cheapskate, tried to convince my mom to sleep in the car, but she was not into that plan whatsoever. Not with the 2 small children, both of whom were recovering from the sniffles. So we get a room and it's fine and dandy. Check-in person mentions a pool, and being 4, my eyes light up like a Christmas tree. Mom takes us up to the room to get changed because I will not be swayed. I will go swimming, cold or not. We get back in the elevator and return to the lobby. The pool is on the ground floor across the entrance. I take off running, super psyched for swimming. Mom just sees the switch go off. I suddenly need to blow my nose. I stop, I look around. I'm wearing just my bathing suit, so nothing to blow my nose in there. And even as she sprints forward, towel in hand, I get down on all 4s and grab 2 handfuls of the Persian rug and give her. The lobby is dead silent. The massive bus of Japanese tourists at the hotel check-in counter turn in horror. I get up and continue my merry way to the pool, and Mom is left with angry hotel employees looking at a puddle of my snot. Reading stories like this, I'm not too proud to say that sometimes I envy kids because they have this lack of things like consequences and shame, and they're so happy with the world and so comfortable to just do what they want and not bother about someone judging them. I'm sure OP looking back now feels silly about what they've done, but 4-year-old him was absolutely sure that was the right thing to do, and you can't change their mind. They would probably question your sanity if you told them what they did was wrong. I can always see the wheels turning in their head while they're making their next move, and other times it's like they're these impulsive beings who just do what they want without thinking for a split second. Anyway, if you guys have your own funny childhood stories, I'd love to hear it in the comment box down below. I do have a number of funny stories from my childhood which I'm happy to share in another video. And that is it for today's Scroll Down the Rabbit Hole. I do want to say a huge thank you to you guys for sticking around and watching to the end of the video. Feel free to give it a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more content from me, hit that notification bell so you always get notified of when I post. We also have our own subreddit, which is r/AshleyReddit. Please feel free to put your own stories, your Q&A, your confessions, and your dramas on there, and I will try to include them in future videos. Until next time, keep it nosy, keep it cozy. Ashley read it, and now so did you.